It's a double-duty utility trailer built for work and for play. We're cutting steel, bending steel, and welding it with Midsota trailers.
And paddle power created by a man with a dream. We sneak into the garage to watch one-of-a-kind paddle boards come alive. People are passionate about outdoor equipment. Get this, Americans spend more than $20 billion a year on gear. But no one ever really sees how their stuff gets made.
Well, that's where we come in. Each week, we throw open the factory doors and give you a behind-the-scenes look at how your favorite gear is made.
Made for the outdoors.
We work all week so we can play on the weekends. Let's face it, there's no shortage of love for our outdoor toys. And we also need a reliable trailer to haul them up north or to the cabin. And for toys big or small, let's now find out how Midsota trailers are made for the outdoors. For 45 years, Midsota Manufacturing has been a leader in the trailer manufacturing industry. The company started in a garage back in 1971 and now continues to grow and thrive in Avon, Minnesota.
We are the producer of over 40 different trailer models, building from little single-axle utility trailers on up to 40-foot gooseneck tandem dual trailers.
This manufacturing facility is 50,000 square feet end-to-end. It's one long walking strip with a parts department, a fabricating shop, a paint booth, and finishing area. I brought my steel toe boots, safety glasses, gloves, and you said I need this as well. What are we doing today?
You're going to need that helmet today. We've got a lot going on today, a lot in store, build a lot of trailers here, a lot of welding going on. Today we're going to focus on building our tilt bed trailer.
Engineers designed this heavy-duty trailer with the outdoorsman in mind. It can haul your skid steer or 2 ATVs. Check out this 3D model. Kyle is one of the brains behind the tilt bed. He can zoom in and analyze every inch, angle by angle.
It's important for me to get it right here. Everything's cut to the right length, and then they can just put it together. It saves time out there if I take the time in here.
The steel comes in by the semi-load and then has to be unloaded. So the steel is so heavy it has to be brought in individually. These guys go through 3.6 million pounds of steel a year.
We want to put a heavy-duty, high-quality unit going down the road, which is why we use tubing as a core component to the majority of our trailer frame process.
Each steel sheet is laid out onto this high-def machine. As the sparks fly, the plasma cutter uses an electrical arc to burn through the plate. It's a combination of oxygen, air, and electricity.
Plasma cutting is a very cool machine. If you haven't seen it before, it really is critical to this manufacturing industry.
Talk about precision. Letter by letter, it can even cut a special Made for the Outdoors logo request. Check out this detail. How cool is this? The MAKE stamp of approval. After the initial cut, each part is rough around the edges. So Jamie is in charge of smoothing things over.
We get the slag off by grinding and have it look like that as a finished part.
The next step is the press brake, and we aren't talking basketball.
We've got our 300-ton press brake. Some of the different plasma cut parts or flat steel sheet parts need to be bent or formed to fit on the trailer.
Call us superheroes, if you will. Nate and I are bending steel just like Superman. That's so cool. It takes 320 tons of pressure, created by a computer control and 2 large hydraulics, much like those on a tractor. Woo. Tough work. Bending steel for a living. Coming up, a robotic welder takes over that looks like it's straight out of a movie. Plus... So this is really happening. I'm dead serious. They are going to let me weld. Stay with us. That's next on Made for the Outdoors.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Nutrisource, Nordic Components, Banks Outdoors, River Valley Power Sports, Ice Castle Fish Houses, Yugo, and Suzuki Marine.
Midsota trailers are made for the outdoors. We build a heavy-duty trailer. We're going to the outdoors, we're going to the cabin, we're going to the lake. Usually it's not the tar road that takes us there.
Welcome back to Made for the Outdoors in Midsota Manufacturing in Avon, Minnesota.
Just a great working environment, pretty laid back, low key, but the one thing we want to do is we all are on the same team, making sure we put a good quality product out the door.
Yes, it definitely takes a team effort to get this heavy-duty tilt bed trailer out the door. After all of the parts are prepared, they will then move to the fab shop. Here, it's all about welding. From the ground up, the main frame of the trailer is welded by hand.
And that is an art form. We want to make sure that they perfected their welds, nice, aesthetically pleasing welds, and good, strong welds. We claim we have a good, durable trailer. It all starts with that weld. The hand welders at Midsota are the best in the trailer industry.
Sean is one of their lead hand welders, and the poor guy was set with the task of teaching me some tricks of the trade. It's about to get serious.
All right,
Oh, shoot.
too far away.
It did really bad.
Yeah, you gotta hold it closer to the weld. Oh, too slow. Nope, that's not working.
I am really bad at this. Last chance. Yeah!
There you go.
20th time is a charm.
That's what they call in the welding industry is a booger. Not good. This one, way better.
I love how at the end of every one of mine he says, nothing a grinder can't fix. Amateur hour is over. Now it's time to watch the real pro. This yellow robotic welding arm transforms the tilt bed frame.
And that is by far one of the most entertaining aspects of the building. It is a cool machine, really interesting to watch that thing work.
It'll spin 360 degrees. It'll get every point of what we need to, everything that needs to be welded on this trailer.
How cool is that? It's like it's straight out of a movie. Transformers in real life.
Every weld is the same, every weld is consistent, every weld is a perfect weld every time.
Now our trailer is actually starting to look like a trailer, so it's time to prep for painting with a process called steel bead blasting.
Every trailer gets rolled into that booth and is blasted with steel grit. Basically what it is fine steel shavings.
The metal on metal removes the rust and imperfections. So this is the before, and then this is the after. Your paint job is only as good as how well the material will go on.
That's where it really looks like a trailer and we really can put our Midsota signature on it. We use high quality paints. We put a lot of money and a lot of focus in our paint booth. Usually is one guy in with a gun at all times painting that trailer. And in a couple hours, he can get a complete trailer primed and painted and ready to go.
And the last step in the line is the finishing department.
Mud flap installed.
These guys are installing the decking, lights, and tires, plus doing a final inspection.
This is our Midsota tilt bed trailer. This trailer is made for the outdoors just because it's so versatile, different ways you can haul. You can haul multiple ATVs, side-by-sides on this trailer. Use it to get your skid steer up to the cabin, get some work done up there, haul your equipment, haul your toys. A lot of different uses for this trailer. Built heavy, built rugged, built tough for home or industrial use. Smooth ride going down the road.
Coming up, paddle power created by a man with a dream. We sneak into the garage to watch one-of-a-kind paddle boards come alive.
Sporting goods stores sure do leave a lot of room for tall paddle boards these days. Maybe it's proof that this fairly silent sport has really taken off. Now, most manufacturers use a lot of fiberglass, plastic, and rubber in their boards. But today we're going to leave the big business behind and sneak out to the garage to meet paddleboarding's ultimate craftsman.
Okay, so Minnesota might be the land of 10,000 lakes. Makes sense that people want on the water. Exactly why, after a full day of work at the local bank, Tim Shore,
Oh, little man.
steals a quick smooch and sneaks into the garage.
Time to cut some wood. Safety first. I'm gonna basically cut this in half, and then I'm gonna strip it down. I should be able to get 8 strips completely out of this board.
This wood will become the DNA of Tim's dream.
It started back in 2013, and my wife Jen wanted a paddleboard. Is really what it all boiled down to, and I started doing some research. But I just fell in love with them. Fell in love with the look of those type of boards, and I told Jen I'm gonna make her one. 200 hours later, we had a board.
And a vision for a business. Hand-built boards made out of, well, boards.
So we have 3 different types of wood that we use. All of our dark wood is Western red cedar. We also have aspen, which is our lighter accent wood. And then our last wood that we use is paulownia. The benefit of paulownia is it's not only light in color, but it's light in weight. The nice thing about both of these woods is when you actually epoxy them and you fiberglass them, there's a little shimmer that comes out and it kind of shines, which is kind of cool.
Up first, Tim rips red cedar strips, which will become the deck and the board bottom.
When I cut up that other board, it'll be a book match cut. So when you lay it out, it will be identical on both sides. As you can tell with these 2 knots, very similar. It just gives a very uniform look all the way down the board and very symmetrical.
He saws smaller pieces of aspen and paulownia. They will go in between the cedar strips. Think accents and added color, a steady hand, and plenty of focus get the cuts just right.
So now I'm gonna basically take the cedar that I cut up along with this aspen and glue up a panel.
The panel. Tim actually builds several. Once put together, they will become the board top and the board bottom.
This panel I'm gonna be gluing up is either gonna be on the right or left side of the board. A lot of this will essentially get cut off. Do an accent strip like that. So what I do is I tape the boards together just so they stay together.
Next, on surfboard stands,
Lay the panel up here, let the seam come off the edge.
and he grabs the wood glue. Lots of it.
So then you just run your seam, and now the glue is going to be held in by the tape on the other side.
Tim fills each joint, and Tim drops the panel into wood clamps and ever so gently tightens each.
Throw a couple different weights on there, and then just let the glue dry.
Heck, it's getting late. Time for bed. But after the break, Tim burns a few calories.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Central Boiler, Mountain Dew, Running Aces Casino and Racetrack, B&W Trailer Hitches, Bonfee, Illumicraft, and by Game Fair.
Tim Shore's day job might be banking, but he really cashes in on his true passion at night. Tim sneaks off to the garage to build paddle boards. He first cuts and glues together the board tops and bottoms. A little sanding, and they look like this.
Ready to be glued up. So I find what's the better side of the two, this one being it. That will be the bottom of the board, and then this is going to be the internal bottom of the board.
Now come internal board ribs and spars.
I designed these kits, the 11.5 and the 10.5 foot sup, and they basically start as a skeleton. Like the kits you got when you were a kid, little balsa airplane. Just pop them out and put them together. That's kind of what I liken it to, because it literally takes about 5 minutes.
Crazy, considering building the skeleton on the very first board took more than 100 hours. Yep, 100.
Try to shave weight as much as possible. The whole kit, when it's all put together, weighs 2.5 pounds. They definitely look flimsy, but when you get it all together, it really builds strength.
Tim builds the frame in 3 sections and then joins them with epoxy.
It's a 2-to-1 ratio on the mix, so I do 2 parts epoxy and 1 part hardener. It's called Entropy Resins. It's a bio-based resin.
Tim lines up all 3 skeletons. He uses small gussets to connect each section.
This whole structure stays glued up overnight.
It's time to join the frame to the board.
The main thing is to get that center stripe pretty doused with epoxy. Yeah, you really want to have it sitting in epoxy and have it harden as much onto that wood as possible.
Tim lines the skeleton along an epoxy center line and then heavy lifting. Plain old cinder blocks hold the epoxied parts in place.
Basically try to do 3 at a time.
Tim uses a riser to create the perfect bend on the back of the board. Suddenly, you can see how strong these paddle boards become.
So basically, this board started out as 2x6x12 cedar boards, as well as 1x3 aspen. Glued them up as panels, and we had a top and bottom panel that are identical.
He builds edge rails.
And you glue the nose and tail on, and you got a fully solid board.
After sanding, a few last cuts.
So basically, I'm cutting the fiberglass down a little bit. It's kind of excess. This is a 38-inch wide roll. The board itself is only 32 inches in width. So I'm just cutting the excess off. Now it's ready for the glass.
Fiberglass, the board's protective cover.
2-to-1 ratio. This step is very crucial because you want to make sure that it's measured correctly. If you don't mix the epoxy and the hardener correctly, you will run into a gooey substance that never gets hard enough, and then you have to sand the entire board off. It's not a fun process.
Well, we all learn from our mistakes.
I use a fast hardener. From the time of mixture, it gives me about 30 to 45 minutes before it really starts gooing up and you're not able to move it on the board.
Which means quick hands.
The art is to get it evenly covered.
He uses a squeegee to rub out air bubbles and also compress the fiberglass right to the board. As the final product starts to dry, it sure looks like Tim has it all figured out.
You know, my goal for the year is to build about 30 boards, but next year I hope to double that and just increase production. It's one at a time right now. It's cool, man. If you would have told me I was gonna build stand-up paddle boards like 5 years ago, I'd have thought you were crazy. First of all, I wouldn't know what they were. This whole process, it's amazing how things have kind of came together. Just worked out, all the way down to the name.
Oh yeah, a name. That must have been a tough one to figure out.
I don't think it's a fad. I think people are going to find ways to get out on the water, and this is a great way to do it. I don't foresee it going away.